Hi everyone, it's Robin and welcome back. So today I have a mini Michael's haul to share with you, and then when I'm done with that I will get into answering the decor questions that you guys left for me last week. Now I know I said last week that I would have like a little mini decorating something or another to share with you today, but I don't have anything done. So instead, I will show you the new, fun, exciting stuff that I picked up at Michael's. So the first thing I picked up was this little bunch of tulips. Aren't they cute? They had a whole bunch of different colors. I, of course, went with the white. So these were half off, I believe, and they were originally $4. So I got this little bunch for $2. So I thought that was a good deal. The next thing I found was this little baggie, little net bag of little speckled eggs. I think they're just like little foam eggs. Yeah. I don't know how many are in here. Oh, it says 14 pieces. And I picked this one because it had a lot of the pale colors in it. And it had a lot of this like green, teal color. And I just thought they were really cute. They're like speckled. And these were originally $5, but I think they were on sale for 40% off. So those were cute. Alright, so the next thing I found I thought was really super cool. It is this little, what do they call it? They call it a stone mat. And I think it's really cool. It has all these little stones on it. So, you know, you put it on something, then you put a little pot, like a little flower pot on top of it or something. I don't know. Pretty excited about it. It was $5.99 and of course it was 40% off. So that was pretty cool. I'm excited to use that. We'll probably use that in my kitchen windowsill. So then the next thing I picked up was this little bouquet. This is not a little one, but was this bouquet of flowers. Have you seen these at Michael's before? I've never seen the larger size. This is the larger size. They're originally $20, but they were on sale for half off. So this one was only $10. And I thought that was a really good price. And I love these little bunches. Like I have a whole bunch of the smaller ones. And they make such quick and easy arrangements. You just plop them into whatever little container you want. Or you can just like stick them on a shelf like this. And it's just gorgeous. But anyways, I thought this one was really neat. Of course it has the white roses in it. It's got like some eucalyptus leaves in it. And then it's got this little, I don't know what this is called, but it's kind of, I like that. And then it's got a few little berries in it, if you can see that. And then this was really cool. It has like a succulent in it also. There was another one that had 2 succulents in it, but I'm not really big into succulents. So just the one, that was enough for me. But I just think it is so pretty. It needs to be adjusted a little bit, but I just thought this was gorgeous. So I can't wait to use this come springtime, and I think that'll be really cool. Alright, so the very last thing that I picked up was 2 little lanterns. They look like this. They're little glass lanterns. They have like this little, it has a top on it that you screw off, and it holds the candle in it. So you just put it down in there, and then of course the top of the candle is vented. And then you got your wire hanger. And I just thought these were really cool. I really liked the etching on the glass. And these were originally $8, but they were on sale for like $4, which I thought was amazing price. So I figure I can use these in multiple ways. I think I might actually end up bringing these to the camper to use when we're camping. Just kind of hang them around the campsite, or put them on the picnic table or something like that. I'm not really sure, but I just think they're really cool. I am sure that I will get a lot of use out of these because, I mean, they're very simple, and then they got a little touch of the, you know, galvanized metal, and so many uses for that. And pretty much every season I could use something. They use them for something, because you could take off the lid and then stick some flowers in there, or some evergreen branches for like winter time, or some berries. It's just, you know, so many options. So that is my Michael's haul. That's everything that I bought. I think my total bill was like $25, which I thought was amazing. So I was very happy with all these finds. I can't wait to use them, but I have to wait a little bit longer because spring is very far away. We just got a huge amount of snow yesterday, and yeah, spring is no longer on my radar at this point because we're in full winter mode here in Minnesota. So anyways, alright, so let's go ahead and start on the decor questions that you guys had for me. Now, I was a little shocked at how many questions you guys actually left for me. I thought maybe I'd get like 3 or 4 questions, but no. You guys have a lot of questions for me, so I hope that I can do them justice and that this video will not turn into like ginormously long. But if that's the case, that's the case, and you guys can choose whether or not to watch it, I guess. So let's go ahead and jump right into the questions. Alright, so the first question I have from Amy D'Ambrosi. Sorry, I probably am going to butcher everyone's name, and I apologize. But her question is, since you're a thrifter, meaning you're getting new things all the time, when you change out your decor, do you save the items or do you get rid of them? Sometimes I find it hard to get rid of them, hence my overflowing garage. Any suggestions or tips? On the norm, I do not get rid of anything, but at the same time, after I get done with, say Christmas, when I get done with Christmas decorating, anything I haven't used that's still in the bin when I'm putting Christmas away, I'll reevaluate what's in those bins, and if I don't think I'm going to use them ever again, I will donate them or get rid of them depending on their condition. But most of the time, when I am thrifting, I would say 90% of the time, I am not buying items that are season specific, if that makes sense. Most of the items I pick up that I can use all year round, so they'll get used in different ways throughout every single season that I have. There are some things that I use over and over again in every single season makeover pretty much. At least fall and winter, a lot of things coexist, and then same thing for like spring and summer. Just because the coloring is right or the shape is right or stuff like that. So most of the time, I don't get rid of things. But that doesn't say that I don't get rid of things. Like right now, I am in the process of purging my my storage area, which is also my laundry room area. And I know I've got a ton of stuff in there that hasn't been out of boxes in years. And all of that I'm going to get rid of and then reorganize my storage of decor items. But yeah, most of the time I keep everything. But if I know I'm not going to be using it, then I get rid of it. Or if I notice something on a shelf that I've worked around all year round and I've never used it, I will take it and I will donate it. So I don't know if that answers your question all that much, but I would say keep a few favorite things that you can use for all your different seasons. That would be my one tip. Try to make purchases that you can use for more than one season. That will help with the amount of things that you're going to pick up. And then after that, make sure you purge on a regular basis. I know it's hard to do, but our tastes change from year to year. Like some things we are using now, we'll use for a couple of years, and then we'll evolve in our decorating likes and dislikes, and then we're not going to use that stuff that we've had stored. So that is the time to get rid of it, I guess. So hopefully that answers your question. Gwen says, my question is more general. I don't know how to arrange things on a table or shelf. How do you know how to stack or arrange things so beautifully? I don't know where to start or what to put together. Oh, you're so nice, Gwen. Thank you for that compliment. Let me first start out by saying, when it comes to decorating your home, there is no right or wrong way to do it. Decorating a house is a very personal thing. Everybody does it differently. All you have to do is arrange things so that you like them. You don't have to worry about whether it's the correct way to do it or what anyone else is going to think about it. If you enjoy it, that's what matters. That's all decorating is. You're decorating your house for yourself. When it comes to putting displays together, there are a few little tips and tricks that you can learn to incorporate that'll make it easier to put together displays, especially if you're new to decorating in general, or if it's something that has just kind of become a new passion for yourself. So when I first started really getting into decorating, I did a lot of reading on it and just trying to staring at pictures and trying to figure out how they put things together. And one of the things that I remember really stood out for me and really made things a whole lot easier when I was putting together displays was the power of 3. The number 3. I know it sounds stupid, but arranging 3 items together in various sizes is a very quick and easy way to put together a grouping of items. The things don't all have to match, but they can. Some of another, and all normally tends to work out very nice. And from there, you can leave it as it is, or you can grow more things. So to begin putting together a display, find one item that you want to use. And from that item, find 2 more things that will go with the first one. Either they match it in color, or they complement the color of the first item. And make sure that all of your items that you find are in different sizes. This will make putting a display together with those items very simple and easy to do. So I'm not sure if I'm explaining this very well, but I'm going to give you a visual aid. So I rounded up a few things, and I'll show you what I'm talking about because I think it's a whole lot easier to see it than to just hear it. So let me go grab my stuff, and I'll bring it over to my dining room table because we'll do like a tablescape, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I have rounded up a few things that I think will look nice together. So the first thing I picked up was a clock. I love vintage clocks. Then I have this little bouquet of flowers. And then I have a vase to put the flowers in. And then I have a little tea light holder. This one's like a little bit mercury glass-like, but then it mostly looks just like crystal. And then obviously I'm working on my dining room table, or not my dining room table, what is this? I'm working on my living room table. So first things first, I'm going to take my vase and I'm going to just plop the flowers in there. Turn them so I like the way they look. Alright, so there's my one tall piece. I'm going to kind of put that over here, kind of off center on the table. Then I'm going to add my medium-sized piece, put that right there. And then finally, I'll put my small item. So then I've got 3 size things, and that's just your basic display. Another trick to do, like I kind of have these spread out at the moment, but what you can do is kind of group them together a little bit more if you like that look. Another little trick is to make sure that everything's sort of facing the middle of your display. Now this is curved, so it's going to look like it's facing the middle of the display. But as you can see, this is squared off, so it's facing straight out. If we were to just turn it just slightly, so that it kind of looks like it's facing the middle of the display, I think it looks a little better that way. And then you've got 2 that match, because they're both in the white family, and then you've got 1 accent item. So that's the basics behind using the power of 3 when decorating a display. So from this situation, you can start adding layers. So from this would be perfectly fine the way it is. But if you wanted to add a little bit more to the display, I think that elevating the clock would blend the 3 together a little bit. Because these 2 are kind of the same height, but then this is much taller. So adding a little height to the clock will make all 3 of them look a little better. So let's go ahead and add some books to the mix. Who doesn't like vintage books? There we go. We'll add that to it and then put the clock on top, angled towards the middle. And there you go. It looks a little different, right? So then this is counted as 1 item, 2, and 3. Alright? Now, another thing you can do is make your books not quite all stack up the same. Just add a little touch more of interest. Like that. Let me give you a little closer view. See how they're not quite on the same level? I kind of made them a little askew. Just makes a little bit more texture for the mix. So for me, this kind of blends into the coffee table a little bit. So I always like to ground my displays on my coffee table with some sort of just tray or like a weathered board or something like that. So let's see what this all would look like inside of a little tray. So with putting everything in the tray, I think it kind of finishes off the whole look. And to me, the tray is like a grounding piece for the whole display. And I don't count it in the number in the 3 items that I have displayed. It's more like a grounding wire to my display, if that makes sense at all. But it's like the finishing touch that kind of just pulls everything together. Now you could use many different things, like a little wire basket would look really cute. A wicker basket would look cute, or even just like a distressed plank of wood, just to kind of confine the arrangement and kind of separate it from the table itself, and it kind of makes the whole arrangement sort of pop out at you. So that is how I would, so that's basically how I go about adding or building a display for a table like this. Now, I have it centered on the table. If you wanted to add more interest, you could off-center this. I would off-center it at an angle, and then maybe put a large, like a pile of oversized, what do you call it? Oversized coffee table books on this side with like a candle on top of it. I think that would look really nice. So there's a lot of different things that you could do on this. Or you could center it in the middle. You could put a candle holder on this side and on this side, and that would be a nice little thing to also do. So there's a lot of different options. Once you get your base, you can just kind of keep adding to it until it's where you want it to be. So hopefully that kind of gives you a good idea of how I go about building my displays. So I have 3 more quick examples of what I am talking about. I started with these soup tureens because I knew that I wanted to use the white dishes. So because I'm going with the black and white theme in this room, I added this black chippy frame in the back. So I've got 3 items and they complement each other, and it makes a nice little display. Up above here, I started with 3 items again: the clock, the dog, and the soup tureen. Once again, complementary colors, 3 different sizes. Now I added this little stack of plates underneath the one of them just because it gave the tureen a little bit more height, add a little more dimension, and you can consider this as one item. So you've got your 3 different items and 3 different sizes. And then up here on the top, super simple, 2 plates in the back and a complementary item in the front. So once again, you've got your 3 items, all complementary colors, and really super simple display and easy to accomplish. So there you go. All 3 shelves have the power of 3 working for them. And it's really quick and simple, and it gives you a very classic look, I think. Okay, so the next question is by Whole Soul Mama. She says, what do you consider your top 3 decorating go-tos? Like, when you are at the shop or thrifting, what are the top 3 things that always go in your cart? This is a really hard one, but I would say hands down, if I am thrifting or out, any white dishes. That is my number 1. I'm always on the lookout for them. I have way more than I could possibly use, but I'm still looking for them. So that would be number 1 thing that I always look for wherever I'm at. White dishes. Of course, I'm always on the lookout for white ironstone. That is like the holy grail. That's what I'm really looking for, but I'm not a purist. If I find something in a shape or a color, or it's got a lot of crackling and browning, I'm gonna get it because I love that sort of thing. So if it's in my price range, of course. So that's the number 1 thing that I always pick up: white dishes or ironstone. The second thing that I will always pick up, oh man, after that it gets hard, It really kind of depends on what I'm looking for at the moment, like what collection I'm trying to build. And right now, the other collection that I'm trying to build is vintage or antique cutting boards. I have a few cutting boards that I've found at thrift stores. I have a few that I've made, but I don't have any true like antique cutting boards, and I am still on the lookout for some, and I will someday have one, but that is the thing that I'm always looking for now. So the second thing is cutting boards. My third thing that I think that I would always go into my cart, I guess the third thing, this is a hard one. It's kind of a toss-up between two things, but I think I would go with anything, any like wood trays, wood platters, wood bowls, anything wood like that I can, wood shelves, that sort of thing that I can make over. I'm always on the lookout for that sort of thing. Although I really don't need it anymore, I always am on the lookout. Like trays, I love trays. Wood trays are so much fun. Trays, boxes, that sort of thing that are made from wood would be my number 3. Okay, so the next question is from Renee Handler, and she says, I get stuck in leaving things in one place and not moving them around enough. I'm afraid I'll move things from one area and then I won't have anything to put there, and then I'm out shopping for more stuff. How can I get over that fear? Is the first question. And then the second question is, how often do you refresh your home? And then one more question is, where do you store your items that you're not currently using at the time? Do you have shelves or bins that you tuck away? Woo! That's a lot of questions. Alright, so the only way to get over the fear of moving something and then not being able to replace or to fill that space again is practice. It's difficult to make that move, but if you have something that you think is going to look so much better in another place in your home, move it. It's okay that the other place doesn't have anything in it right away. No one goes into their home and decorates the whole space at one time. It's a process that changes from day to day if you like to decorate daily, or you know, when you get to it. No one does. I mean, to think that you can decorate a whole room in one day is, I don't know anybody who does it, because there's that brainstorming that goes on before you get into decorating a room, and then when you're decorating a room, things don't always work the way you think they are going to work in your head. So you got to make changes and that sort of thing, and it's a process. For me, when I decorate a room, very rarely does it take one day. It's normally 2 to 3 days, because I like to have it sit for a little bit, and then I'll tweak things around and stuff like that. Or I'll decorate one section of the room one day and then a different section of the room another day. So it's not a process that happens boom, boom, boom. It's a process that takes time. And the more you practice moving things around your house, the more confident you are going to become in your skill of decorating. Just like anything else, practice, 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 and you're gonna learn more quickly. The more you practice it, you're gonna learn what you like, what you don't like. So when you go to decorate a new space in your home, you're already gonna be ahead of the curve, because you already kind of know what you like. So it's just kind of learning what you like and learning how to achieve the look that you like. And it's all a process, and you have to practice it. So hopefully that answers that question enough. Alright, so the next question is, how often do you refresh your home? And I'm going to say 3 times. Let's see. Christmas, winter, spring, fall. 4 times. 4 times a year I will change things up. And you know, in between times I'll move things around, but like whole room changes happen 4 times a year. But I don't do my whole house. I do my kitchen, living room, dining room, and my bedroom. The rest of the rooms just get changed over whenever I feel like it. But those, you know, those 4 other rooms are the main rooms that I decorate for the seasons, if that makes sense. Alright, so the final part of that question, go ahead. Emily, my daughter's going to be making food in the background. I apologize. It's that time of the day. And if I don't keep going, is never going to get done. So, because everyone's home today. We have no school. My husband's working from home. So, like, I can do this for like 2 minutes and then somebody else will come through the room. Or the dog will come. It's very frustrating. Alright, so anyways, the next question is, where do you store your items when you're not currently using them at the time? Do you have bins or shelves that you tuck away? What? Are you trying not to be seen? So anyways, where do I store things? Storage is always a problem because we don't have that big of a house and I have a lot of stuff. So, major storage for like my dishes and silver pieces, that sort of thing, are mostly in my hutch that sits in my living room, and then I also have a corner hutch, both of which have 2 shelves underneath it that hold a lot of stuff. So that's mostly whatever's not on display when it comes to dishes and a lot of my silver stuff and a lot of like my table runners and that sort of thing are in those 2 hutches. The rest of the stuff is stored away down in my laundry room. In my laundry room, I have 2 cupboards that are like kitchen-sized cupboards that has like, I put a lot of my candlesticks and like smaller little things like my clocks and my little cow figures and that sort of thing. Those go in there. Then I have another small shelf that sits next to my washer and dryer, and that holds a lot of more things like flower arrangements that I've put together, cloches, that sort of thing. It's just a mishmash of things in there. And then I have another section tucked behind my furnace. In my room, this laundry room is very, very small, but I've tucked in as many places as I can with storage. And over there I have things in like small bins, small plastic bins, kind of by season or whatever, and that's where I keep the majority of the rest of my stuff. So that's kind of how I keep things organized. If it's specifically for a season, like say Valentine's Day is coming up, Valentine's Day bin is like a little bit bigger than a shoebox bin. Here, you know what? I'll grab it. Here we go. This is a bin that I use. This is a 16 quart. It's by Sterilite. And this is all the things that I have that are Valentine's specific. Not very many things. So I've got a bin like this sitting on my shelf, and then I have another bin sitting on top of it that has my spring stuff in it. So these 2 stack on top of each other, and they just go on a simple shelf tucked behind my furnace. And then I have like 4 shelves, and I basically do the same thing. Christmas decorations is a whole nother ball game, and that is stored underneath our steps in our one storage area, which is, I don't have anything decorated. I don't have any of my decor in that area. That's sort of like, you know, kids storage and that sort of clothes storage and furniture that I'm not currently using. So that's kind of where I'll put everything. Okay, so the next question is by Joe W. And what other YouTube channels do you watch for decorating? I have quite a few that I watch. Let me think if I can remember them off the top of my head. And I'll probably forget some, but Frugal Farmhouse, Mama from Scratch, Carrie Murphy, the Perry Family Vlog, or Perry Family Vlog? Yeah, I think that's it. Craftomatic, Dainty Diaries. What else do I watch? Oh, Jamie Ray Vintage and the Mountain View Cottage. I think that's it that I watch for like decor ideas. So anyways, I'm always on the lookout for more decorating channels to watch. So if you guys know any that I should know about that I haven't found yet, please leave them in the description below, because that would be awesome. Because I'm seriously, every day I look for more that I want to follow, and I don't always find any. So let me know. Alright, so the next question is by New Every Morning. Do you envision first, or do you find an object and use it as a jumping off point? How do you decide the look you're after? Do you get ideas from other sources? And do your own take. I'm always wanting to spruce things up but feel overwhelmed that I will have to start from scratch. My house is looking dated and I want to freshen it up but don't know where to start. Alright, great questions. The first question is, do you envision first or do you find an object and use a jumping off point? I would say it's a combination of both. Like most of my decorating in my home, I do a seasonal decorating. Like I do my spring or my winter or Christmas or fall. So that kind of gives me a general kind of what I want to do in general. So once I have the season that I want to decorate for, that makes it a lot easier for myself. And then a lot of times the rest of it kind of comes from things I'll find at the thrift store, things I already have that I know I like to use, or I'll see something on, Pinterest or Instagram that I really like and want to kind of, make my own. So a lot of times that is where the second inspiration comes from. Like an example, last year for my spring decor, I found these really cool like bamboo and wicker trays that fit perfectly on my hutch, and I absolutely love them. They were very pale color and I thought they looked awesome with the green accents and the blue accents that I like to use for my springtime decor. So I thought these wicker trays looked really nice on my hutch, so I kind of went with, I added a lot more wicker into the mix, which I had in the past never really done before. So that's kind of an example of things that I find at the thrift store that I kind of make work into whatever season I'm going to decorate for. Alright, so for the next part of the question is, how do you decide the look you're after? Do you get ideas from other sources? And do your own take? Absolutely. I love Instagram. I think it is so awesome. I get sucked into Instagram and looking at beautiful homes and beautiful rooms decorated, and I lose myself for hours in there if I allowed myself. But yeah, a lot of times I'll be scrolling through Instagram and see something that I have that's very similar to what's in the photo, and then I like to see how they used it, and a lot of times that is very inspiring to me. How I decide what the look I'm after, like I said before, it's very seasonal for me. Let's see, was there another question? Oh, it says, I'm always looking to spruce things up, but I feel overwhelmed that I'll have to start from scratch. My house is looking dated and I want to freshen up, but don't know where to start. I'm going to tell you to start in your absolute favorite room. Whatever is the room that you spend the most time in, or you want to spend the most time in, start there. When you go to start decorating a room, take baby steps. It doesn't all have to be done at once. Let's say you're going to do your living room. Start with a new tablescape for your coffee table. Something easy to do, and bring in elements that give you the feel that you want in that room. That right away will change the feel of the whole room. After that, you can start adding in other things, like you could change out your pillow cushions on your pillow, you could add different curtains, you could paint the walls, that sort of thing. So it's all kind of like little baby steps until you get the look that you want. It's not just going to happen right away. So just take it slow, and I think you'll figure it out. I have confidence that you will make something that you really enjoy. Alright, so the next question asks, several of the wooden pieces you stated that you made them. Example, the headboard, etc. Where did you learn your woodworking skills? Because I envy it a lot. Well, there's not a whole lot to envy, to tell you the truth. I have very minimal woodworking skills, and most of the things that I make are very like beginner level. Let's just say that. I would say that most of what I've learned from watching my dad make things. My dad is a very hands-on sort of person, and he's always done, no matter what, he's like, if he's fixing a car or he's like refinishing a basement or whatever, that sort of thing. Yeah, he was just always doing that sort of thing, and I learned a lot from him. I also learned a lot from my mom. She's very good at decorating herself, and I learned to sew from her, and I learned to craft, I learned to make things from her. So yeah, I think it's a combination of both, of watching my parents, both of my parents. And then another thing that helped a lot too, it was not long after I was married, we bought a house, and the basement was unfinished. So my husband and I together finished that basement. So that was like a crash course in like woodworking and, you know, drywalling and all that sort of thing. We had vague ideas before. The only thing I'd ever done was painted walls before that stage, really, other than to help out somebody with another project. But that was our first project that we really did ourselves. So, yeah. The next question is, walls are perfect for seasonal changes of accent colors. I would love to have white walls, but I've always looked quite harsh in the UK light. I was wondering if you have ever been tempted to try your walls in a different color. I had, for the very longest time, very dark green walls. That was really before I started getting into decorating. I was going for, this was like 2000 or so when we first moved into this house, 2002. And the whole house was tan. And I don't really care for tan. So I was going for like a really nice sage green that was like the Martha Stewart green at that time, you know, and I couldn't get it in this house because the house was too bright, and everything that I put on the wall looked mint green, which is not what I was going for. So I just kind of kept going darker and darker and darker until I had this dark green forest, and I gave up at that point. So I lived with dark green forest walls for a really long time. After that, I did do my living room, my kitchen room, and my entryways and hallways in a real pale yellow, and I had that on the walls, I would say 5 or 6 years, probably longer than that actually, but I had yellow walls for a really long time. And one of the colors that I've been thinking about playing with lately is a very pale gray color. I would really like to try that. I tried it downstairs in my family room, and I really liked that down there. But that room doesn't get a whole lot of light because there's like 2 main light sources and they're not real big. But it looks really nice in there because it really brightens it up down there. Almost like a white would, but it's not as harsh as a white. So maybe try a pale gray color, because that is really popular right now, the gray colors. But I would, because you can go so many different ways with gray. You can go the beigey grays or the blue grays. Yeah, there's a lot of different options with gray. So that might be worth a try. Alright, so the next question is by Sandra Cushing. If you find a particular item like ironstone and then it gets harder and harder to find, do you scrap the idea or do you wait until you can find them for a reasonable price? I am not a purist in any sense of the word. Like, I'm always on the lookout for ironstone. But if I find a picture that has the look that I like, has the color that I like, I'm going to get it if it's reasonably priced. I don't care if it's ironstone or not. It still has the look that I like. And I pretty much use that. I mean, that's my rule across the board. If it has the look I like and it's in my price range, I will get it and make it work. Because I do not have the income to be buying, you know, vintage pieces and antiques all the time that I want to. It's just not reasonable. There's other things that I need to spend my money on. So reproductions, I have no problem using those. As long as it gives me the look I want, I don't care. But I do find that some things do get harder and harder to find. And in that instance, you know, a lot of times if I'm still trying to grow that collection, sometimes I just have to be really, really patient. Like with the ironstone. Sometimes I'll find some ironstone, a lot of it all in a row, and then I'll go years without finding any more. So it's just kind of, you know, that's the way it is. It's something that I love. It's something that I'm always looking for, but at the same time, that doesn't keep me from buying those other white tissues to add to my collection and help round out the collection. So, yeah. Hopefully that answers your question. Alright, so the next question is from Alice, and she asks, how do you store all the items you change out for newly purchased items in your decor? And do you reuse them in your decor later? She also asks, how do you choose what to use where? How do you store all the items you change out for newly purchased items in your decor, and do you reuse them in your decor later? Yes, I do reuse items, and like I said, I store things. I think I already touched on this. My hutch is in my living room, and then I have a space down in my laundry room. And that's where I keep whatever I'm not using currently. Now I have a lot of stuff out currently, and then it just all kind of gets shifted around when I start decorating. Newly purchased items in my decor. A lot of times when I go thrifting, I'll find something that I want to use for my winter decorating, and I have to put it away until that time comes around. Other times, I'll find something that I can use right away. And if that's the case, I'll just move things around, or I'll take off, like if, say, my hutch area, if there's something I find right away that I want to use right away, I'll take one of my less favorite shelves and remove that stuff from there, and then put the new thing up there with some other stuff. So that's kind of how I incorporate new stuff right away, is I just kind of tuck it in to what I already have going on, or it sits in storage until the season that I want to use it. So that is how I use newly purchased stuff. And how do you choose what to use where? Again, it's seasonal. I feel like I'm a broken record. But yeah, things are seasonal for me, very much so. Different times of the year I like to use different colors in my home. White is my, white and versions of white is my base color. So if I know if I buy something white or in that base color white, creamy whites, that sort of thing, then I know it's going to work in my house at some point. Things more like are like color specific, like the reds that I bring in, or the blues and the greens, that sort of thing, I'll use for different seasons. And a lot of times where I use a particular thing is very much related to what colors I'm using in that room at that time. Like and then also the types of things that I use, like wrought iron candlesticks, or beefy, you know, like chunky wood items like candle holders and that sort of thing. Those things I normally typically use in my winter and fall times of years. But like glass jars and lighter, more delicate looking things, a lot of times I'll use more in the spring and the summer decor, and a lot of times sometimes in my Christmas decor. So what the item is really does have a lot of impact on where I'll use it and when I'll use it. Does that make sense? I hope so. Alright, so the next question is by Michelle, and she asks, do you find yourself falling out of love with certain decor after you've had it a while? Do you keep it or donate it and start a new idea? I do fall out of love with things. Not very quickly, I wouldn't say, but there's some things, you know, I find I don't use, so yes, I will donate them. And by then, whatever else I'm newly obsessed with has overtaken those items, so I don't really normally have to search for a new idea. But yeah, I definitely fall out of love with things and get rid of them, and there's no shame in that at all, I don't think, because we all grow as people and our tastes change. It's as simple as that. So don't feel bad about getting rid of things that you don't like anymore. It's totally normal. Next, Tanya asks, can you give me some tips on a rustic decor, please? Oh, and then it says for living room and bathrooms. I have some ideas, but I would love to hear what you can suggest. Oh boy. Okay, so rustic to me means darker woods, like wrought iron kind of things. Maybe, what would you say? Rustic-y things. Okay, so for me, rustic means kind of like chunky wood items, wrought iron, maybe colors more in the browny, earthy tones, that sort of thing. It depends really on how rustic you want to go. Do you like want to go cabiny rustic, or do you just want to do like rustic, like farmhouse rustic? It just depends. And it also depends on the colors that you want to use. If you want to go with neutral colors and darker stained wood, to me that seems rustic to me. And then metals, adding metals in would be a good thing also. Definitely for like the living room. Big chunky candlesticks made of wood or iron, that would be very rustic. And a lot of different layers and textures of fabrics. especially for like on your sofa and that sort of thing. Have like, not have everything all matchy-matchy, but kind of mix your types of fabrics, like use some linens, use some ticking stripe, use, you know, some canvas, maybe some coffee, what do you call that stuff, the coffee grain sack sort of thing, coffee sacks, and like the big burlappy kind of things, that kind of thing. That's all very rustic, at least to me. So that sort of thing. So hopefully that answers your question. That's what I would do if I were going to do something in rustic. A lot of wood, a lot of darker woods, you know, big chunky sort of, you know, accessories, that sort of thing. And mixing the textures would be a big thing. Even for in like the bathroom, shower curtains, that sort of thing would be, add those textures and those metals would be big, I think. So that's my thoughts on rustic. I don't do rustic very well, I don't think. Alright, next question is by Brenda, and she asks, where do you store things when you're not using, or do you get rid of some stuff? My house is small, and I would love to go thrifting, but nowhere to put the things I wouldn't be using. Any ideas? So some of these things we've already touched on, like the storage, or what I do with my storage, and then I do get rid of things. I probably should be more ruthless about it, but I'm not. And then the other one is where to put things that you're buying if you don't have a lot of space. Again, I don't buy a whole lot of seasonal things. I buy things that fit the look I want in my home, and that is that cottage farmhouse look. So I'm not buying a whole bunch of like seasonal things, like, you know, I don't go and buy all these heart things for Valentine's Day and stuff that I've got to store the whole rest of the year. I've got a little bit of I have a few things that I add in here and there around, and it gives me the, you know, a little bit of change for that particular holiday, but not going and changing everything. So I get, if that makes sense. So let's say Valentine's Day is coming up. I have a few things that I have that are Valentine related, you know, like hearts and that sort of thing, but I don't have a lot. But I keep what I have very minimal. I showed you that box earlier. It's just a regular, this box. I just have a very small box, and that is all the things that I have for Valentine's Day. And I don't totally redecorate everything. I just sort of tuck them in wherever into my decor that I already have going on, and it works for me. So you don't have to have a lot of, you know, holiday specific things if you concentrate more on the overall look that you want in your home. The style that you want, the country, the farmhouse, you know, the modern, whatever you want the style of your home to be. If you concentrate on those items or those styles when you're thrifting, you can still purchase things and then be able to use them right away. If you aren't able to use them right away, utilize storage underneath your bed, maybe in your bathrooms, in your garage. A lot of things can be stored in the garage if you don't have to worry about them with like heat and, you know, coldness. Like a lot of the dishes and stuff like that, they can totally be stored in the garage. So and then of course, you know, just be creative. Go onto YouTube and find creative storage solutions. There's a ton of stuff out there for that sort of thing. But and you'll probably find a lot of tips on that. So my tip to you would be, you know, shop for the overall look that you want for your space and not so much the individual holiday. And then when you do buy things for that holiday, don't let it get out of control. Just, you know, a few things that'll give you the feel that you want around that time of year, like Valentine's Day. Hopefully that makes sense. Alright, so moving on to the next question. The next one is from Patricia. That's my mom's name. I like that name. She asks, do you or have you used the crackle technique? Just wondering, and she's kind of interested in it. The crackling technique is so much fun. I haven't used it on a lot of things, but I used it not too long ago on one of my thrift store makeovers. If you want to look that up, I'll try to remember to link that. But I'll try to remember to link that down below. But I did it on a Corbel that I found at the thrift store, and I wanted to give it a makeover. And I gave it a crackling finish. And oh, that was so much fun. I really like the look of it, and I would like to do some more. I just haven't found the right piece to actually do it on yet. So, but it is a very simple technique. And let me tell you this. Do not go out and spend the money on the really expensive crackling medium or whatever they call it. Buy yourself a good old bottle of Elmer's glue, and that's basically what the crackling medium is. It works the same. I've tried both. I actually prefer the Elmer's glue. I think it crackles a little better because I like to put it on nice and thick, and the glue goes on nice and thick, and it gives you nice big crackles, you know what I mean? So don't buy the expensive stuff. Go buy yourself some school glue from Elmer's, and you'll be very happy with the results. So yeah, so give it a try. It's fun. It's really cool to sit and kind of watch it as it crackles. That's pretty cool. So anyways, yeah, that's a good one. Alright, so the next question is by Rachel, and she says, my question is, when you decorate, do you have a theme or look in mind, or is it based more on what you find thrifting that inspires you, what you put together? I feel like a broken record. Again, it's inspired by the seasons. It's inspired mostly by the style that I like, which is the cottage farmhouse look and the colors that I like to use. Those are like the three main things that dictate what goes on in my house decoration wise. The things that I find at the thrift store fit into those parameters, if that makes sense. So I don't buy things that I know won't go with my house. Like, you know, the old world look, or, you know, like the Tuscan look or whatever. That just doesn't look well. It doesn't mesh with what I want my house to look like. So those aren't things that I buy at the thrift store. I think once you kind of know what you want in your house, it makes thrifting a whole lot easier because you're looking for those items that you want, not just at everything in general seeing, will this fit into what I want in my house? A good way to do that is to figure out, if you're still trying to figure out your style, is to go through magazines or go through Pinterest and look at the pictures of, you know, the rooms that you like, and then look at them. What is it in that picture that you like? Is it the color on the wall? Is it the overall theme of the room? Is it relaxed, or is it posh, or is it, you know, rustic? Whatever. And try to pick out the things in the room that is, you know, your eye is drawn to the most. And when I did that exercise, I figured out that I liked a whole lot of white in my decor, which isn't a surprise to any of you, but back in the day when I did this exercise and trying to figure out what it is that I actually wanted my house to look like, that was like an eye-opener for me. I had no clue that that's what I liked, those pale colors. And then having the pops of color that I add in for the season. I didn't know that before. You know, developing your style is sometimes a really hard thing to do. And I know for me it took a long time because I really didn't know what I was doing. And then I didn't know where to start or how to do anything. So it was just all kind of trial and error and figuring out what you like, and then just sort of building on that. You know the colors you like, so you kind of build on those colors, that sort of thing. Hopefully that answered that question and a little bit more. Anyways, so the next question is from Donna, and she asks, how do you get your first idea, and what inspires how you're going to decorate your room or a cozy corner? The same things, the seasons, something I find at the thrift store, or a color that I like that I want to use. When I'm really stuck and I don't know where to go, and like I want something fresh in my space for a season, I will look on Instagram and I'll find a color that they use that I could really easily add in with some new pillow cushions or something like that, or I'll find something that I see in a photo that I have, which I never thought I would use in that situation, but I'm like, oh, I really like that idea, so then I'll try to recreate that idea with the item that's similar or very much like what I saw in the photo. So that for me is a jumping off point when I am really, really stuck. Other times, the things that I find at the thrift store will kind of direct my seasonal decorating. Kind of like when I talked about the wicker bamboo tray that I found earlier in this video. That was something that I never added into any of my rooms before. I didn't know that I liked that look, but I found these trays and I thought they were cool, so I bought them and I brought them home, and I realized that it would work really well with my other spring, you know, decor items that I already had. So then I went on and started looking for more wicker things that I could add in. So I kind of scattered the wicker around the room or the space, and it all worked out. So that's an example of how what I found kind of dictated kind of where my decorating was going to go for that particular season. So it all kind of just flows together. Alright, so that is the end of the questions. Hopefully this video isn't like really long. I tried to go through as fast as I could through the questions without being too confusing. So I tried my best. I don't know if you noticed or not, but I have been very tense and very nervous. I feel like this whole entire video, I am not my normal self because I don't want to answer the questions wrong, and I'm really nervous about this whole thing, but hopefully I will get better at it. So you'll have to let me know what you think of this video. Is this something that you want to see every week, or maybe it could be a once a month thing? I'm not really sure. You let me know. If you have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comments below, and we'll just kind of see how this keeps rolling. If I keep having enough questions for every week, I will do a weekly video on Wednesdays. If the questions kind of dwindle off, maybe I'll just do a once a month question answer video. So I don't know, we'll just see how this kind of goes, and hopefully I will get better at this as we go, because I am by no means a decorating expert, and I obviously am no expert, but I just want to help anyone who really likes decorating because I love it so much. So hopefully this was informational and inspiring, and maybe it sparked some more questions, and hopefully it was helpful. That's all I hope. I hope at the end of the day I helped someone, and just one someone. That's all I can hope for. So anyways, if you have questions for me for next week, leave them in the comments below. If you are new to my channel, thanks so much for stopping by, and consider hitting that subscribe button, because I do a lot of decorating DIY projects, and I have a weekly vlog as well. So that's kind of what we do here at Happy at Home. And yeah, so that's it for me today. I will see you very soon.